All right, Nolan, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us here. Yeah, you have a very unique experience and in some sense, very intimidating as we started out our relationship, just given your background and how quickly you got up to speed here. But why don't you tell the people at home a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, yeah. Happy to be here and appreciate that. Yeah, I started doing short-term rentals really just, it's been not even a year. It'll be a year next month. So it feels like it's been years already. It's probably taken years off my life. But um, yeah, started with one short-term rental in the Caribbean and then expanded from there. Currently co-host a small boutique hotel located near Bryce Canyon. Purchased a few other short-term rentals, some cabins as well, and full steam ahead right now. So that's, yeah, I guess a little bit about me.
Yeah, man, you really packed a lot in a year, that's for sure. So I guess leading up to it, you were new to the space, certainly had the chops given your tech background and sales background, and how well you've done there. But I guess as you were starting out, like what challenges were you specifically facing before joining Outlier?
Yeah, yeah. So I had joined a mastermind or an academy group to learn about short-term rentals. Uh, and even going through that program didn't feel confident, with some of the revenue management, some of the performance management. And that's really where I found, Outlier. I think, my search algorithms, you guys did a good job with your advertising and I had found a couple different probably competitors of your guys's as well. Ultimately, hopped on a call with you guys and I think we aligned and it made sense to work with you guys moving forward and really just helped fill a lot of the gaps that I felt like I had, just starting out, not only just starting out, but even just long term as well. It, some of the performance management, revenue management, those are areas that like I still don't feel confident about, even though now I've hosted, I think, over 2,000 nights and at 800 some reviews now. And, it's come a long way in the last year. But definitely, the Outlier team, like you and the team, have really just been so supportive and helpful and really, helping to drive revenue, maximize our listings and really, you know, keep that performance high.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess maybe dig in a little bit more, like how would you
Yeah.
describe your experience in working with Outlier?
Yeah, I mean it's been a close partnership. I feel like you guys have done a really good job of being that, trusted partner. I randomly will send you guys texts and you guys do a great job of responding, answering to my questions or emails, whatever it might be, or hopping on a call. But from that aspect, you guys have really kind of taken this off my plate where I'm able to focus more on some of the expansion opportunities that I have in front of me. And you guys have been able to kind of run with some of these other areas that, again, I haven't felt as confident about. But what that's enabled then is really, high performing properties. And it's taken the properties, to guest favorites to, 5%, top 10%, top 1%, in some of these markets. And they're varying markets too, which I know is probably challenging for you guys, whether that's, Broken Bow
Yeah, you
or
like to bounce around, man. I love it.
or the Caribbean. I guess they're all very different, right? But you guys have really stepped up to it and just done a phenomenal job in all those markets and all those areas. So it's again, I thank you for everything that you guys have done.
That's great to hear. What would you say you like best about partnering with Outlier if you had to pick one thing?
I think it's the transparency that you guys provide. I think that's huge. I think the knowledge that you guys provide as well, like the you guys know what you're doing. And I'm not afraid to challenge you. I'll come back and say, hey, I think we should adjust this, or I think, this feels a little low to me, or this feels off or whatever. And then you guys come back with, it's not just opinions, which I know you guys do take into account, opinions or some of the emotion. But what I do appreciate is it's data-driven decisions.
Mhm.
And I think that's key is, the data can tell you and guide you, to high performance. And sometimes it's easy to, put emotion into it, or I want to do this, or I like this, or I prefer this, when the data can really help guide a lot of those decisions. And so you guys have done a great job of, working with my sometimes emotional decisions, but then providing, okay, we'll take that into account, but understand this, Nolan, here's the data, and this is what the data is showing. And then that, talks me off the ledge. I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys are right. Yeah, it
No, but
makes sense.
kudos back to you. I mean, that's what we found the best partnerships are. It's where you have a host or an owner like yourself that has opinions and knows what they're talking about, but there is a level of you are very close to it, right? Like you're in it every single day. It's almost like us being a fractional CRO, CMO, where we can kind of pull some of the emotion out. And
Hmm.
we like to think of it like we make data-driven decisions supplemented with anecdotal feedback. And that feedback comes from our different partners or our network in this space, things that we're seeing across our portfolio. And I think combining both those things, granted, we're trying to do better and better at that of like, hey, here's the information. We want to make sure that you can make that data-driven decision instead of just kind of agreeing with you or you just agreeing with us. Like that partnership has been awesome. I think that's part of why we're successful together. Um, One thing I wanted to rehash and kind of touch on. Could you describe again for like dig into when you came to us? You had, I guess, the one property. What led you to then say that this is working? Let's expand from there. And what did you expand to? Could you touch on that again?
Yeah, yeah. And sorry if I wasn't clear.
Oh no, you're good. I probably missed it.
But yeah, so when I first started out, we had one property, and it had actually been under a previous property management company. I had started just to kind of see things, and I caught myself giving them advice or like, hey, maybe you guys should try this or do this. And then that's when I was like, okay, maybe I should just do this myself, try and take it on. And so with that, I really then realized I couldn't do it all, and I needed to work with a partner, and I needed to work with someone that was more skilled than myself in a lot of the different areas. And so you guys helped me launch the property successfully. It took some ramp up time, and I think that's expected when you're launching a new property. But what we've seen, and every month is I'm always like, okay, how are we doing with bookings, and what is it going to look like? What is the next month going to look like? And what we've been able to see with this property is it's just increased in the length of stay, in the revenue, the ADR. I think beginning we were charging, I don't remember what it was like around like 400, 500 a night. Yeah, and now we have nights that are, 1,000 plus, and that's a great spot to be. And so we even just had our biggest booking. It was a $34,000 booking. And so again, none of that would have been possible without your guys' help and support.
So it was that increase in ADR, occupancy, revenue growth that kind of propelled you to say, okay, I got these new properties. Let's hand them over to and moving forward, we've just, been fortunate to keep growing that portfolio. Is that kind of how it's been for you?
Yeah, I mean, I texted you yesterday, and the reason why I want to talk to you after this is I have a couple more now that I am going to be taking over here on the island as well as elsewhere. And so I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about that. But yeah, it's definitely how I feel, and that's where I'm at. I know that you guys will help me be successful and will help the properties, maximize their potential. And so it really is a no-brainer for me to work with you guys and kind of keep things moving forward.
That's great. And then lastly, just close it out. Appreciate your time here, Nolan. What would you say to someone who's considering Outlier to help with their property or portfolio, fully knowing, I think even more now than when we first met a year ago, the amount of competitors, fly-by-night companies, software, tech, AI that is just inundated in this industry. They are seeing that stuff day in and day out. There's a lot of confusion, not fully understanding how this, industry works. Analysis paralysis probably is a big piece of this. What would you say
Hmm.
to that person about working with Outlier? What advice would you have?
Yeah. I'd say definitely, obviously, hop on a call. It really helps to kind of hear from you guys and the different perspectives that you guys offer, the different insights. And for me, that was big because like I said, I was part of an academy, a mastermind about short-term rentals and learning all of that. And I reached out to a few different, competitors of your guys's as well. And it really made sense to work with you guys just based on your guys's knowledge, the level of care that I felt from you guys as well, that you genuinely wanted me to succeed as, as a host and as a customer of your guys's portfolio, right? And that was important to me. So yeah, I would say for anyone considering it, definitely look into it. They're a great team and they're very supportive, and you won't go wrong there.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thank you so much for jumping on the call, Nolan. As always, it's good to catch up and yeah, Lance, let's keep on rolling. All
Sounds good. Thanks, Jordan.
right, thanks.